In ProjectTeam.com, you can create workflows to track all sorts of processes within your project. A workflow is a sequence of steps that an individual form or form type can follow from start to finish. Each form can follow a predefined workflow configured by your team to ensure the right people are receiving project information. At each step of the workflow, users will be able to pass or fail and provide comments on why they took such action. In this demo, I want to show you how easy it is to create a new workflow in ProjectTeam.com and then start that workflow on an individual form. I'm starting here on the project homepage, and at the bottom of the page, I see administrative features that I have access to. Let's find and click the workflow option. As you can see, I don't have any workflows on the project yet, and that's okay because we're about to create one. Click the New button, and we're taken to a screen that allows us to define our new workflow. Let's put in a new name for the workflow. In this case, we'll call it the RFI review process. We'll quickly fill in a description, and in the Available For field, we can choose all of the form types that this workflow should be used on. And for now, we can just select Request for Information. But this does mean that we can use the same workflow across many different forms if needed. Next, we can define which users can start the workflow. If we don't care who starts it, then we can just select the All Users on Project Share group. Otherwise, we can define specific users. For now, let's just select All. And finally, we can fill out our workflow steps. Here, we can define what happens at each step of the workflow. We can fill in a label. This is just something we can use to refer to each step, rather than just using the step number. In the Send To field, we can list all of the users included at this step. For now, I'll just choose myself and Patrick. In the Who Must Approve field, we have two options. Any, meaning if any of the users pass, the workflow will automatically move to the next step. Or All, meaning each user in the step must pass before moving on. In the Days to Approve field, we can decide how long the step has to make a decision once the workflow gets there. The days will also be used in dashboards and reports to tell if something is overdue or not. In the With Instructions field, we can fill in some text that will help the users in this step understand what their responsibility is at each step. For example, maybe here we'll say something about reviewing the question field and making sure the correct fields are filled out. The last field, Also Copy, is for users that don't want to be officially part of the workflow, but they should automatically be shared the document once it gets to the step. Okay, so now that we've finished our first step, let's quickly just add a couple more to finish the workflow setup. All we have to do now is save. Now that we have a workflow, let's see it in action. We'll navigate over to an RFI since this is the form type associated with our workflow. If we scroll about halfway down the form, we'll see the workflow panel. To start the workflow, click the Start button, and we'll see all available workflows listed. Choose the one that we just set up and start. We'll see now the workflow is shown and we see both the visual and the detail view. In the visual area, we can see each step represented by the boxes. The first blue box is showing when the workflow first started. On top of each step, we can see the step label that we set up earlier. The yellow shows pending and the gray is still waiting. Below the visual area, we see more detail about each step. Let's take action on the workflow, and then let's take another look. In the Take Action window, we see we have the option to pass or cancel since we're at the first step. For now, we'll pass. I'll also enter a quick note here. Now, when we look back at the workflow, we see the step has turned green and the second is now yellow. In the Details area, we can see Josh Whitmer passed the workflow, and since we chose Any in the Who Must Approve field from earlier, the other user was skipped. In addition to the workflow visualizations, automatic in-system and email notifications are sent to responsible parties. For example, if we look on the top menu bar and click the workflow icon, then choose View All Workflows, we see a swim lane view that shows all individual workflows and where they currently stand. And finally, like everything else in the system, there are some really great reports that you can run about workflow status, steps, and more. ProjectTeam.com is an extremely powerful all-in-one project management system that can help you skyrocket project productivity. This demo was just a sample of the full functionality. For more information or to get started today, contact sales@ProjectTeam.com. We're always happy to help.